All right, taking a little break from the music on this Serenade Sunday as we share a cup with another author. And I'm calling her author because she has been a photographer as long as I have known her. Her passion has been in photography. I have with me Maria Nunes, and she has put together this gem. It's simply called In a World of Their Own, Carnival Dreamers and Makers. And the photography in this publication tells the story almost of Trinidad and Tobago's Carnival. I want to thank you so much for being here, Maria.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here, Joe.
I mean, it almost looked like I dressed to...
Well, I did wonder.
Yeah, I color coded with the Blue Devil.
You did a really good job. You did a really good job.
Maria, congratulations. This is me just skimming through some of the images. From the time I saw the social media posts and I saw what you did, I said, it was time that this was done. And looking at the imagery now, I know photography is your baby, but this really tells a story by just skimming through some of the pages. What inspired this?
Well, Joe, I've been doing this now as in the photography, for the last 10 years in a serious way in Carnival. Mm-hmm. And I felt that I'd covered sufficient ground to merit really looking at publishing a book. I'd actually been egged on by this fella behind us on the wall here, ATM
Charles, serious?
Yeah, he was one of the people who, he calls me Nunes. He said, Nunes, man, you really need to think about doing this. Yeah. And other people as well that are very close to me. And so I seriously considered what would be involved in a publication. And I went actually to see the publishers of the book, two women that I knew very well, Melanie Archer and Marielle Brown of Robert and Christopher Publishers. You know Marielle is a filmmaker herself. Yeah. And so I went to them with the idea. I had no clue really what I was in for, but just the concept that I knew I had enough images to put forward in the form of a book, but not knowing the shape it would have or anything like that. I just said, okay, here, what do you think? So
you handed them a bunch of images and say, what can we do with this?
Yes, and I basically sent them, I sent them folders of images I had been collating in various categories I had started to think about. And then I started to share with them what Carnival is to me, how I experience Carnival.
Right.
So really the book, and that ended up being a very strong thread for the book, because it's really a journey through time and space in the way that I live Carnival.
So it's Carnival almost through your eyes.
In a certain way, yes. Yeah. And through a certain kind of lens. Put it that way. Yeah. It's my particular perspective, but it's one that's shared by a lot of people who enjoy that heritage part of our Carnival. Yeah. That's what I would say. That's what this book is. It's what I would call the tradition-based parts of our Carnival.
I think this imagery here almost gives us that sort of flashpoint that you're speaking of, because it takes you back to the Blue Devil, the old mass type of feel.
I mean, for example, the Blue Devil, the original Jab Molassie, which is what a Blue Devil is, just a version of Jab Molassie, is one of the oldest expressions in our traditional Carnival. I mean, Jab Molassie goes back as a form in Carnival, as a mass in Carnival, to the 1830s and 40s and maybe even earlier.
Maria, based on what you're telling me, over the last decade, photography would have been your thing. You fell in love with photography and you were taking Carnival pictures. And this led to just saying, hey, it's time to put this in some sort of documentation.
Yeah, because I think the nature of the kind of Carnival that I immerse myself in is
it's not just bikini and
no, and I have nothing against that either.
Yeah. But because I'm looking for that and I'm not seeing it. I was about to ask you that, but I'm looking for that and I'm not seeing it. But go ahead, I'll come to it.
Because the Carnival that I got introduced to was the Carnival of Trinidad All-Stars playing Sailor Mass.
Right.
Leaving their panyard on, corner top of Duke Street there on George Street and going down George Street, past Blue Diamond's panyard on the right-hand side, all the way down to Queen Street, turning left and passing in front of the masjid on Queen Street, the mosque there at the corner. And which is the juxtaposition of those things visually, because it's a beautiful mosque. And Piccadilly, this East Dry River. And you know, the band heading along Piccadilly, all of the old, beautiful old houses that are on Piccadilly. So for me, it was visually rich, that carnival that I got introduced to. And I realized the more that I did this every year, two things. One was the actual mass itself, not just of the sailors, but the fancy sailors out of Belmont, the black Indians that I got to know, the Blue Devils that became my good friends. So it was a note.
You got to know these Blue Devils.
But yeah, in fact, many of the people in this book have become my friends over the last 10 years. But the thing that was interesting about Mass in Town, because this book is a journey through time and space and Carnival, and it takes you to places. It takes you down George Street. Okay, it takes you along Piccadilly. Pictorially. And you're referenced also by not just the mass, but by the architecture. You know, so there's a photo in there of a Jab Jab. The Jab Jab is from Couva, and here he is on Duke Street, in a beautiful part of Duke Street with, you know, in terms of the architecture. And so I think one of the things is that it references people, but also place. And I like that actually about how the book evolved and how the publishers saw that was the story that could be told in the book, to bring those two things together.
Yeah. So when you, just take me through the process, when you met with Maria and because you have this rich vein of pictures, how did it turn into, okay, what is the story we are going to tell with these pictures?
Well, you know, we would have these sort of, I would call them brainstorming meetings.
Yes.
And out of that, Maria, and I suppose, and I've said before, I think this was the filmmaker in her, you know, she started to see the storyline that could emerge.
Yes.
And that I kept referencing place. And she really zeroed in on that rather than just have a book of pictures, which could be good in and of itself, that here was an opportunity to tell a story. And she saw that as the story. And so explore that as story. So that actually the book is put together in such a way that you really are taken on a journey from the beginning of the book right to the end. And I think that actually, it really adds another dimension to the book. And I think for the person who's going through the book, it brings a depth to how the material is received.
I'm going to ask you what I think is a tricky question.
Yes.
Because as I said, I'm not seeing bikinis at all. Am I missing it?
No, but this is a good example, for example, of what you do see. Look, Trouble Now.
No, right. Look, Trouble Now. No, right. And this picture is Sailor Mars.
And hello, this is Laventil Rhythm section playing inside of All Stars.
So I'm going to ask you a tricky question, right? Yes. So I am not seeing bikini and beads here at all. Did I miss it, or do you have a shot of it in here at all?
No.
Right.
You'll see beads.
I'll see beads. I just saw a headline when Wire came to town. It really is our heritage, where Carnival came from, and where it seems now that part of what Carnival used to be is disappearing somewhat. This is targeted to whom? Well,
this is targeted, first of all, I would say, as something that says, look at what actually really exists in Carnival. These are not photos from 50 years ago or 60 or 70 years ago. These are photos
last decade.
I would like to tell you right up to this Carnival.
Right.
A photograph of Nari Apru that's in the beginning of this book. We'll find that photo in a second.
But tell me.
And the point is that the photography in this book says this Carnival, these traditions are alive.
Yeah.
So this is targeted at us. This is not a book for tourists or visitors, though it's wonderful if they buy the book, and I think they would enjoy it. But this is a book for us here in Trinidad and Tobago to say, look at how beautiful our Carnival is. Look at how our Carnival is not one-dimensional. Look at the heritage aspects of the Carnival and realize how interesting they are.
And the criticism of the fact that it doesn't showcase modern day Carnival.
Well, the thing about it is, what is modern day Carnival? Because there are young people in this book.
Yeah.
And for me, the book very specifically focuses on heritage and Carnival. So therefore, I have chosen the focus of the book. And therefore, it references very specifically those traditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maria, congratulations.
Well, here's a photo from 2018. This is 90-year-old Nari Apru inside of John John, getting ready to maybe play his last Black Indian mass, because he came out specially to honor one of the Black Indians who died.
He's 90 years old.
And he's like a living legend of Carnival.
Book is now available bookstores across the country.
Correct. It's available at paper-based at the Normandy Hotel at Rainy Days in Ellerslie, and things are being put in place for it to be in other bookstores across the country, but not yet.
Yeah. Look out for it. A World of Their Own, Carnival Dreamers and Makers, and photography by this lady. I've known her for quite some time. You still golfing?
No, this is my new sport, but photography is
You left off golfing and you picked up photography.
Yes.
Maria, congratulations. So thanks so much for dropping by this morning and sharing with us. Look out for it, guys. It will be in bookstores near you, and it's I think it's one of those publications that if you're a Carnival lover, if you want to understand our history here in Trinidad and Tobago, it is something that you need to put your hands on.
And in fact, I would just say one last thing quickly, is that the introductory essay to the book, written by Shivani Ramlochan, who's one of our best writers today, and really sets the framework for that history and the framework for the photographs. It's a beautiful essay by itself.
Understanding where we come from.
Yes.
Not just bikini and beads, guys. Not just bikini and beads. Thank you very much, Maria.
You're welcome.
Taking a short break, guys. We're coming back. More music to come here on the show. Stay with us. So we're serenading you on a Sunday.